right, welcome to another live feed on Sharp's YouTube channel. Let's get into it, man. 2001 Miami Hurricanes, the 25th anniversary of this great team. I have it in my thumbnail. Was this the team, the greatest team ever? When you look at the consistency of great teams that played college football in the history, there's no great team, arguably, was not better than this team. They were dominant. They had so many NFL talent. First round draft picks. This team was great. Because going to the consistency, this team may have been the greatest team ever. Coached by Larry Coker. Now, again, Larry Coker did a great job of holding it down, but the guy that turned the program around at that time was Butch Davis. He one that really, brought the U back at that time. It's something that, Miami was trying to do years later, which they did last year. They did lose to Indiana in that championship game, but they are back for us being relevant. But when you look at this team back in 2001, this team was on a mission because in 2000, they could have won the national championship. They lost one game to Washington. They ran the table. They beat Florida State. I think they was number one at the time. But they didn't get in. This is when the bowl championship series was going on before everything became a playoff scenario. And then Florida State played for the national championship. They lost, I believe, 13-2 to Oklahoma. So Miami came back with a team on a mission. They were ready to make it happen. They lost a lot of players to the draft. Great players. They lost to Tanner Moss, Reggie Wayne. They lost some players at that time in 2001 draft. But this team came back with a vengeance, man. You look at this roster, man. They had 38 NFL draft picks. That's because of what Coach Butch Davis did. Obviously, won that championship. They beat Nebraska 37-14 in the Rose Bowl. Dominant. They dominated the opponent. They outscored their opponents by an average of 32.9 points per game. They averaged 42.7 points per game, highlighted by a stretch where they defeated two top 15 teams, Syracuse and Washington, by a combined score of 124-7. They allowed only 9.8 points per game, recorded two shutouts. The roster was just staggering. Future NFL Pro Bowlers and Hall of Famers. And an incredible 17 players from this squad that eventually were selected in the first round of the NFL draft. You had Ken Dorsey at quarterback, running backs like Willis McGahee, Clinton Portis, tight end Jeremy Shockey, wide receiver Andre Johnson, and offensive tackle Brian McKinney. On the defensive end, you had Ed Reed, linebacker Jonathan Vilma, lineman Vince Woolfolk, and Sean Taylor. That's how great this team was, man. They were a dominant team. They won that fifth national championship. They haven't won one since. They could have won it last year. It could have been their sixth, but now they're trying to go for that sixth championship. So this team is one of the greatest teams ever to play. They beat Penn State 33-7 on September 1st. Shut out Rutgers 61-0. Yes, they played in the Big East. The Big East wasn't that tough as it is since they left. No, they play in the ACC. They've been tough trying to win the conference, but at that time, that's what it is. They had to deal with the opponents that had to play. Troy State, not a conference opponent, 38-7. They beat Florida State 49-27, 45-3 against West Virginia, 38-0 against Temple. West College 18-7. That's a game that they could have lost. They were very sloppy in that game. Then they got their mojo back the next two games and handled their business against Syracuse 59-0. They beat Washington 65-7. Both teams were ranked. Then they barely beat, rightfully so, Virginia Tech, number 14 team in the country, 26-24. That was in Blacksburg. That's when Virginia Tech was really, really good. And they beat Nebraska 37-14. So they were dominant. There's no question they were the best team ever. I think they were. I think they are. There's a lot of great teams that came before, but this team was great, man. They were dominant. And when you beat a team by an average margin of victory and they ranked 124-7 in Syracuse and Washington, these teams ranked in the top 15. Washington's ranked number 11, 65-7. And then you play Syracuse before that and you win 59-0, number 15 team in the country. I mean, they set school records offensively. They're great on defense, scoring defense, fewest points allowed, pass defense, turnover margin. They scored 8 touchdowns on defense. Those points would have been enough to give Miami an 8-4 record, even if the offense had scored no touchdowns over the season. 6 players earned All-American status. 6 players were finalists for national awards, including Maxwell Award winner Ken Dorsey, Outland Trophy winner Brian McKinney. Dorsey was also a Heisman finalist, finishing third. And you look at the talent that was on his team. Ken Dorsey at quarterback, running backs, Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, Najee Davenport, Frank Gore, Jeremy Shockey, tight end, John Drake Johnson, wide receiver, offensive tackle, Brian McKinney, Jerome McDougal, defensive line, William Joseph, Vince Wilfork, Jonathan Vilma, DJ Williams, linebacker. I mean, that is Ed Reed, Mike Rump, Philip Buchanan. Then you had future stars that didn't even start. Kellen Winslow II, he was on that team. Sean Taylor, rest in peace, he was on that team. I think he was a freshman. Antrell Rowe, Vernon Carey, and Rocky McIntosh. They had 17 players from the 2001 Miami team that was drafted in the first round in the NFL draft in 2002. 5 of them. Buchanan, McKinney, Reed, Rump, and Shockey. 2004 and 2003, it was Johnson, Joseph, McDougal, and McGahee. And in 2004, it was 6. Carey, Taylor, Vilma, Wilfolk, Williams, and Winslow. 1 in 2005 and Rowe, and Kelly Jens in 2006. I mean, this team was loaded. 38 members of this team were selected by the NFL draft, And also, as of 2013, they had 43 trips to the Pro Bowl. Ed Reed with 9, Andre Johnson with 7, Frank Gore with 5, Vince Wilfork with 5, Jeremy Shockey with 4, Jonathan Ville with 3, Willis McGahee with 2, Chris Myers 2, Clinton Portis 2, Antrell Rowe 2, Sam Taylor 2, Brian McKinney 1, Kellen Winslow II 1, Vilma, Shockey, Wilfolk, Joseph, Rowe, McKinney, and Reed won the Super Bowl. It has been estimated that the 2001 Miami Hurricanes would cost nearly $120 million as an NFL team early as 2009. Also in 2006, prior to 2006, Rose Bowl ESPN SportsCenter ran a special in which the 2005 Trojans of the USC, led by stars like Matt Lyon, Reggie Bush, and Lindell White, were compared with the greatest teams of the past 50 years. As picked by sports fans voting on ESPN.com to determine their place in history, the 2001 Miami Hurricanes were the only team picked by fans to defeat the 2005 Trojan squad. Now, I agree, reflecting the esteem with which the 2001 Hurricanes are held by fans. This was before the Texas Longhorns defeated USC. However, ESPN analyst Mark May at the time said he placed the 2005 Trojans only behind 1995 Nebraska. Stuart Mandel of Newton Sports Illustrated later observed that although the 2005 team may have had the greatest set of skilled players in history, ESPN spent the better part of Christmas season comparing that Trojan squad to some of the most acclaimed teams of all time, only to find out that they weren't even the best team that season. The team's first, second, and third string running backs all later became running backs with a start in the NFL, a feat that was only done 6 other times. It has only been achieved by the 2010, 2012, 2013, 2014 Alabama Crimson Tide football teams. They remain the only team, Miami Hurricanes, to have its first, second, third, and fourth string running backs all later become running backs to start in the NFL. That's how great this team was, man. The team was incredible. But again, give credit to the guy that made it happen, who did the heavy lifting. That was, I think he did all by himself, obviously, but Butch Davis, man, he's the guy that resurrected this program to being what they will become. So, you look at Ken Dorsey, 23 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Clinton Portis had 1,200 yards rushing, 10 touchdowns. I mean, Frank Gore had 562 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns. McGahee, 3 touchdowns. Jeremy Shockey scored 7 touchdowns. Johnson had 10 touchdown catches. His team was loaded. 10 sacks for William Joseph. 9 interceptions for Ed Reed. So he's got 12 touchdowns. I think that's a mistake. I think he scored 12 touchdowns. I think some type of maybe tackle. I don't know. Pass deflected. I don't know what that means. TD. But he had 9 interceptions, 73 touchdowns for Jonathan Vilma. The team was great, man. loaded, loaded. I mean, that's all I gotta say about that. So that was the best of time. That was the last Miami Hurricanes team to win a national championship. That was that great team, maybe the greatest team ever. See what this 2026 Hurricanes team can do with their squad. 25 years ago, this team was dominant, maybe the greatest team ever. We'll see who can top that moving forward. As far as the greatness of that team, you had some great teams after that. Yeah, USC teams were pretty good. They won some championships. I think they won 2 in a row. Could have won third. They lost to Texas. But I don't know if the teams. I mean, the Alabama teams was great too under Nick Saban. But I don't know if they topped this team with the talent that this team had. But Butch Davis gets the credit, man. He deserves the credit for putting that team together. The heavy lifting. Their coach just held it down in his first year as head coach. He had to say he had a great team surrounding him, so he's going to do so well. So that's it, man. That's it for this live feed. I'll be back soon. Until then, talk to you soon.